Welcome to another episode of The Blitz. I'll be your host, Bryan Greer, and today I will be recapping the 2015 NBA Draft. Most teams seem to actually get players that made sense for their roster and logical picks, especially in the NBA Draft lottery. Except for, you guessed it, the New York Knicks. But we will get into them later in the show. First off, I want to start with the top pick in the draft. Karl Anthony Towns going to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Timberwolves making a very solid choice. Probably the best player in the draft. Incredible defensive player. Can take it outside all the way to the three-point line on offense. Also, very good inside post player. I believe they've got a guy whose game mirrors Anthony Davis, who can play alongside Andrew Wiggins, Ricky Rubio, and I believe that this team, if healthy, will be challenging for the playoffs next year because they've got a lot of talent if they could just keep it together and stay healthy. I think that Towns will be a cornerstone in Minnesota and has an ability to be a superstar because he is and has shown at Kentucky that he is a great two-way player. So I'm very interested to see what the Minnesota Timberwolves do in the future going forward. Now, with the second pick, bit of a surprise by some people, the Los Angeles Lakers took D'Angelo Russell, a point guard out of Ohio State, passing on Jahlil Okafor. Now, a lot of people says he has the star power and potential because of his skills at point guard, says he can really dish it, that he can get it out to, or the break to his players, that he can shoot it, comparing him to Steph Curry, which, let's tap the brakes, there's nobody like Steph Curry, but really showed a lot of potential at 1 year in Ohio State. Now, we all know playing alongside Kobe is definitely not the easiest task. And I'm interested to see what kind of actual grooming and growth he gets from a guy like Kobe. Because we know Kobe is there to support Kobe. And I want to see if he actually does grow with the Lakers because they're not getting him to grow him slowly and come along slowly. The Lakers are used to championships and titles, so D'Angelo Russell will have to hit the ground running and show promise right away. They will have Julius Randle back next year to go along with him. But them passing on a guy like Jahlil Okafor for D'Angelo Russell, he has to show promise. Now with the third pick, the Philadelphia 76ers did take Jahlil Okafor, the center from Duke, who doesn't really make much sense for the 76ers, but we know the 76ers don't make much sense at all when they are doing anything basketball-wise. Already having Joel Embiid, they drafted last year from Kansas as their center, and having Nolan Nerlens as their power forward. I don't know if they're going to have Jahlil Okafor play the small forward or what they're going to do. Definitely triple towers because Jahlil Okafor is not a player you just sit on the bench. Very polished as far as offensive player around the basket. Does seem to have some liabilities on the defensive end, but overall a very good pick as far as a player. But when you already have a center, I don't know why the 76ers took Jahlil Okafor. Now, getting to the fourth pick, your New York Knicks. Passing on guys like Justice Winslow, Cameron Payne, they take Kristaps Porzingis. Yes, you heard me. Kristaps Porzingis, a player from Lithuania that most scouts are saying will take 2 years of maturity and growth to show promise. If you're a Knicks fan, as most Knicks fans at the draft were yelling and screaming and crying, you have to be saying, what is Phil Jackson doing? Because this pick right here at power forward doesn't really make a lot of sense because the Knicks and the media there, the fans are not going to give him time. And if he does not show any kind of promise next year and hit the ground running, I believe Phil Jackson's head will be on a stake and it will be tough for him to defend that pick. Kristaps Porzingis. Thank you, Knicks, for always bringing the comedy to the NBA draft. Now, some other picks that I like in the draft were at number 10. I don't know how he went that low. Justice Winslow to the Miami Heat. Could go right in at small forward. Incredible player at Duke. Great two-way player. Defensive stalwart. Could take it inside. Rugged player. Never takes a play off. Could do it all. If Dwayne Wade comes back next year for the Miami Heat, they have Goran Dragic starting at point guard, Dwayne Wade at the 2, Winslow at 3, Chris Bosh at power forward, and Hassan Whiteside at center. That is an incredible starting lineup. And once again, Pat Riley taking the logical pick. Getting players that just make sense. Not going on upside potential, all of that, all this athletic ability. Can they play the game of basketball? And we know, as Justice Winslow, a very, very integral part of Duke winning championship last year, can play and start day one. Another player that I liked getting drafted and made a lot of sense was Cameron Payne at number 15 to the Oklahoma City Thunder, the point guard out of Murray State. Incredible pick for them to go along with Russell Westbrook, I believe. They have a guy who can facilitate it. Also, solid defender. I believe that's going to really help them with their depth next year because right now, a guy like Russell Westbrook has to do so much, and they need players at the guard position now that they no longer have Reggie Jackson, who they traded last year. So I'm interested in seeing how Cameron Payne does next year, and do they give him the minutes that he needs? Because if they do, they might have gotten a steal in this draft. Another player, another team who really made a good pick was the Houston Rockets, getting Montrezl Harrell out of Louisville, the power forward, defensive monster, in the second round. I believe they got the steal of the draft. He is an incredible player. This guy can do it all on the defensive end. Has a 7'4" wingspan. He's only 6'8", but gets every rebound there seems that there is. He is a finisher around the rim, violent dunker, can really seal down the paint on the defensive end. Putting him next to Dwight Howard, if they start him, is going to make them a top level title contender next year because they won't have to worry about teams beating them inside. I do not understand a guy who was a 3-year starter at Louisville averaged a double-double last year, by the way, 15 points, 10 rebounds, cannot go in the first round. He will come in right away and give them incredible minutes, incredible rebounding ability. Kudos to the Rockets for getting a very good pick and a very good player that will make them, like I said, a title contender. Now, overall, other teams did make good picks, but this draft really did not have a lot of, I would say, guard depth, especially at the point guard position. And I believe that a lot of teams went for potential and went for a lot of athletic ability. So it's going to be interesting to see how the 2015 NBA draft will shake out, because it seems that once you got outside of the top 10 picks, that it went towards a lot of role players, guys with long-term upside, and not a lot of just star power. So with that being said, I would like to hear your guys' comments on the draft. Do you think the guys like Willie Cauley-Stein, who went to the Sacramento Kings, will be a future cornerstone for a team like that? Do you think Karl-Anthony Towns will be a superstar? What do you think about Justice Winslow? Want to hear your guys' thoughts on the Knicks and their silliness? So, with that being said, like to thank you guys for watching, and as always, comment, like, and subscribe to Unrivaled Multimedia. And until the next episode of Blitz, take it easy.